Good evening, I'm Barkha Dutt and you're watching the Mojo Story, our independent digital platform that does a deep dive into the big issues of the day. On the program today, the only thing that actually matters, and that is to say that politics, bureaucracy, hubris and ignorance seem to be stalling India's COVID battle. We're now seeing a full-blown battle that is taking place between the center and the states over vaccine shortage. And we're going to get deep into this conversation in just a moment from now. But it is really criminal when you think about the fact that vaccines are our only way out of this pandemic. And even then, we have now multiple states, not just one state, but actually multiple states complaining of vaccines running out. There seemed to be a battle between the center and Maharashtra, but it has in fact got a lot worse as we get reports of vaccine centers shutting down temporarily in almost 7 states. Now, Maharashtra says that the supply of 14 lakh vaccines since up to 17 will last it only 2 days or less. Remember, there's been a full-blown battle between the health minister and the Maharashtra government, and as we said, politics is hijacking the COVID response. But other states are also stepping in with similar complaints. Odisha says its stocks are available for only 2 days, and the second dose, the timing of it could now be seriously hit. Andhra Pradesh has the same complaint, saying its 3.5 lakh vaccine doses will not take it for more than a couple of days more. Almost every state is giving the same 2 to 3 day window, and this is really a shocking situation that we are looking at. All of this is happening as India is seeing its single highest spike again. Telangana is making the same complaint, and Chhattisgarh says that stocks are available for only 3 days more. So the question that we must ask is, if more people die, and remember, vaccines are a way out of this pandemic, who will take that responsibility? How do we explain this unseemly war that is broken out, not just between Maharashtra and the center, but between the center and many other states over vaccine supply and vaccine management? Let's introduce on the program today our panel of guests. Let me introduce them all one by one. We have from the Shiv Sena, Priyanka Chaturvedi, senior leader of the party, has also written a letter to the Union Health Minister. We have from Maharashtra, Vishwas Pathak, who is of course the senior leader of the BJP from the state. We have Dr Muffi Lakdawala, who's been at the front line of the battle against COVID in the state. We have Dr Ambarish Mithal here in the capital, who's been another frontline COVID warrior. And we have Sucheta Dalal, one of our best known and senior most respected journalists. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a sense from the politicians on what's going on. And remember, all of this is actually happening as India hits its highest single day spike again. We've breached that 1 lakh figure now for 3 days. And let me just get a sense. I think we just lost Priyanka there. I'm sure she'll join back. But Vishwas Pathak, let me start with you. How does the BJP justify what's happening? We've seen what the health minister of Maharashtra has said, and they've said that the stocks will not last it more than 2 days. You're also from Mumbai. You're also from Maharashtra. I'm sure you'll put your state and the health of its people ahead of politics. What do you say?
See, it's not a question of justification of any situation, nor it has to be criticized. See, this pandemic is a very unprecedented situation, and vaccination is also something at such a massive level is also very unprecedented. I think government of India has been trying its best to ramp up this vaccine program, and that's the reason that we have crossed a major mark in terms of first phase. Second phase, yes, there is a demand from all across India because ramping up of vaccination has gone up. And I think the center is monitoring the situation very closely, and this will go on. See, this situation was to come like 2 days stock or 3 days stock. But government of India is also looking at the demand, supply, consumption level, and also reordering level. I think yesterday, Mr. Harshavardhan, our health minister of India, has assured that there will be uninterrupted supply of vaccine.
But Mr. Pathak, just see what's the statement that is coming out from the Maharashtra government. It is alleging discrimination compared to other states. It's saying that the vaccines that it is getting does not fit in with the fact that it has the highest number of cases. It also has the highest number of vaccinations, and it's actually asking for about 1.6 crore vaccine doses per month. And it's getting, 70 lakh vaccine doses at the moment, but it needs much more. It needs something like 40 lakh vaccine doses. It's also saying that other states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, states that do not have cases as high as Maharashtra, and you can see those figures on your screen, are getting considerably more vaccine doses. So how do you explain this?
See, Barkha, I know where you are coming from. Our health minister in Maharashtra, Mr. Tope, he has been on air and trying to explain that Maharashtra is being discriminated. Now, I'll tell you why Maharashtra should be discriminated. They are comparing this with Gujarat, Gujarat being run by BJP. Now, look at Rajasthan. Rajasthan is not run by BJP. In Rajasthan, also 72 plus lakhs vaccines are given. Gujarat also got it. See, all I'm trying to say, depending upon the consumption and reordering level, supply is going on. There is no question of discrimination. We are doing that. Secondly, if you look at the statements made by Mr. Tope yesterday and today, and also statement made by Mr. Pawar in between, Pawar expressed full satisfaction toward the cooperation being made or have help being extended by central government. Therefore, I think Maharashtra is suffering from various other political turmoils, and just to divert the attention, this government is trying to do that. However, we are not discriminating anything. Our supply of vaccine for Maharashtra would be in same way, the way it was, and rather Maharashtra has been given maximum vaccination. I will draw attention of Chief Secretary on 6th of April. He is on record saying that Maharashtra has received 1 crore 6 lakhs vaccines so far, and 82 lakhs has been vaccinated. Now 24 lakhs. No, he has not given the account of 24 lakhs. So Tope is giving some other figures. Mr. Chief Secretary is giving some other figures. I think it's not a question of blame game. We should concentrate more on handling this pandemic in very amicable, jointly manner.
Okay, let me bring in Priyanka Chaturvedi at this point. Priyanka, I'm hoping that you can actually hear me. What Vishwas Pathak of the BJP has just said is that the numbers released by the Maharashtra Health Minister do not match the numbers released by the Chief Secretary. Those numbers don't tally. And so this allegation that Maharashtra is being discriminated against other states does not hold. But the fact of the matter is we are seeing notices outside several vaccine centers. I think we have one from Panvel, and we can bring up those pictures. We have reports of at least 26 vaccine centers that have shut down in Maharashtra, and we have these kind of complaints. We just played that as the opening graphic. There's the Panvel Center that actually says that we are closed, please come back again. We are getting similar reports from 7 states, not just Maharashtra. So if you just want to come in at this point, because I think what people are watching with dismay is this political fight that is hijacking of, this is about lives. Nobody cares about the politics. Nobody cares about the 5 elections. People just know that there is a way out of this pandemic, and the center and the states are fighting. Go ahead, Priyanka.
Barkha, I just like to, I'm grateful to you that you have been playing out that letter that I have written. I would want you to tell me out of which part of my letter made you feel that this was a political warfare or we were indulging in political blame game. Aren't we part of the government in Maharashtra? Aren't we supposed to give a feedback to the center? We must understand health is a state subject, but all this is now being controlled because of the Epidemic Act. It is being controlled by the center. So my letter just urged 2 things. Maharashtra's largely working population is those between 18 to 45 years of age. Our own chief minister has written about it. Our own chief minister made an appeal to the prime minister of this country that we are running short of vaccine. Maybe you all could look at providing us more vaccines. It was done in the same spirit as Maharashtra has been cooperating with the center. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, it is very nice of you to come and speak about, what Maharashtra is doing wrong. We saw the center coming forward with an answer which was totally political in nature, which was attacking the state government. And what were we doing? The state government was only asking for vaccines. This would have been well within our right because we're manufacturing at Pune. But since we are under the Epidemic Act and we are following whatever guidelines are coming from the center, we are following that, and maybe we are being penalized for it. I thought our health minister would encourage us. He would encourage us for ensuring an efficient vaccination campaign, which is voluntary in nature and covering a large amount of population. But what we have is a health minister who's made it about politics. Maybe he's trying to earn some brownie points from the center, but that's his job. Maybe,
can I
he
ask
looks
you
like
to
a
be
man
specific?
from
Can I
afar.
ask, Priyanka, be specific. What is the exact problem? What is the exact problem in Maharashtra right now? And what is the exact basis for saying that there is a discrimination that is happening with Maharashtra that is not happening with other states? Because Mr. Vishwas Pathak has not accepted the data that has been released by the State Health Minister, Rajesh Tope. So if you had to just say to the center and to the Union Health Minister, Mr. Harshvardhan, that has accused your government of mismanaging this crisis, what the exact problem is, what would you say it to be?
Simple. We have a population of 12 crores, right? We are one of the most populous states. If you look at Uttar Pradesh, our coverage has been better than the Indian average. Out of the 1.04 crore vaccines allotted to us, we have ensured that 90 lakh of that is used. We were left with a 10 lakh stock. We are covering 5 lakh people a day or more. We are trying to ramp it up more, but as of now, let's keep it at 5 lakh. So 10 lakh stock means 2 days of vaccines. 2 days of vaccines. Once we exhaust that and we do not have anything coming from the center, we have to shut down our centers, which we are seeing across the state, which we had told the center that this is likely to happen. What is the response of the center? That listen, 7.5 lakh is in the pipeline. Now let's say 7.5 lakh vaccine doses are in the pipeline. How many do we cover? We have stock for another 1.5 days. So after 4 days, Maharashtra has again no stock of vaccines to be able to move forward to vaccinate more of its people. What the health minister from the state has said, we need 40 lakhs. Now, even if you look at the 40 lakh demand, we are covering 5 lakh people in a day into 7 days a week, makes it 35 lakhs. Even if you're looking at ramping it up, if we ask you for another lakh, what is it that we are doing wrong, we are doing incorrect, or being unscientific, being political, or being unconcerned, or playing politics? If Mr. Vishwas Pathak can answer this, I'd be happy to listen to his answer.
Okay, because I don't want only the politics to take over this conversation, I'm going to allow Vishwas Pathak one response and Priyanka a brief interjection, and then we have to open this up because this is not just a story about Maharashtra. This is a story of all of India. We have 7 states complaining about a vaccine shortage. We have Adar Poonawala on record saying India can't go beyond 3 million vaccine doses a day. Those are the data points that we need to be talking about. So very quickly, one response each from both of you. Mr. Pathak, let me just get you to respond to what Priyanka has said. You have said we must do this amicably. Maharashtra needs more vaccines. Why can't it be supplied more vaccines when it is the state contributing to 60% of the new cases of the country?
See, vaccination alone is not a solution to this problem. This problem is created by this government. They were not at all serious. In first phase, she asked me what we had done as the opposition party. In first phase, we were on ground helping people, curbing this pandemic. Where were they? We need to ask them. Secondly, this vaccination drive also, see, WHO has got its own guidelines, and as per those guidelines we are going by. They are playing to the gallery saying that first they said you open up for everyone. We know that there is a rationing, there is a limited number of vaccines, so we cannot open it up. Then 45 plus we opened up. Now immediately they are again playing to gallery saying that you make it open for 18 years and plus. I think it is a very irresponsible behavior. They have no any consistency in policies. First they said Punnascha Hariyam, we will not go for lockdown. But the prince from Thackeray family, he always wanted night life to be started, bar to be started. And therefore, I think we as the central government is cooperating, we are committed, and proper uninterrupted supply will come to Maharashtra also.
Okay, the part that leaps out to me out of your response is that you think it's a problem to give vaccines to those above 18. I have to respectfully disagree. I think we can't have this pan-India aggregated response. States that need vaccines more should get more vaccines. We can fight later about whether they mismanaged it, whether they were good, whether they were bad. Let's think about people. We're all Indians in this together. Priyanka, quick response. I really have to open this up now.
I have to comment on this because you had muted my mic. That the kind of words that are being used by Mr. Vishwas Pathak are actually signifies the kind of frustration they feel with regards to how we manage the pandemic. Here is a man who's saying we were on the roads. Yes, you were on the roads. What were you doing on the roads? You were sitting and protesting against the state government and whatever work we were doing. He said we were on the roads. Yes, you were on the roads. You were going to Haraj Bhaval every single day to protest about whatever we were doing. But however, I'm not going to get, no, I will not allow you to speak nonsense. I will not allow you to speak nonsense. And this is not about politics, Mr.
Government.
This is about India. This is about Maharashtra. And I will speak for my state.
We are talking about the lives of Indians. Please speak one at a time. Mr. Pathak, I'll let you speak. Okay, go ahead with your 30 seconds.
I just want to talk about some data points here. You know, when the center released some more vaccines for the state, we were told we will get 7.5 lakh. Maharashtra has 12 crores, I've already told you. Uttar Pradesh has got 48 lakhs. Madhya Pradesh has got 40 lakhs. Gujarat has got 30 lakh doses. Haryana has got 24 lakh doses. What is incorrect about our asking for 40 lakh doses? You are playing game of politics over vaccine, and this is called vaccine politics, and the worst of its kind. And Maharashtra and the people of Maharashtra will judge you for what you're doing, and you coming and defending all this. That is all I'd like to say, and this is how I'd end it. And I wouldn't want to interfere in all the experts talking about it.
Okay, Mr. Pathak, if with your permission, I will come back to you. I need to take this beyond the fight between the
I just want to add. See, the mindset of this MUA government is like same. Central government is not giving us GST, therefore we cannot perform. This kind of mindset they will have to change if they want to deal
please,
with the
who are
pandemic.
you? Who is he? Who is he to decide how our mindset should work?
Here's
Who is
what I
he?
want to say.
What is this mindset? What mindset are you talking about? Mindset for
government is functioning.
Okay, guys. Okay, now I've heard both of you.
I don't want to get into this kind of nonsense. Honestly, this is not what I came for. I thought we are going to have a very cultured
Let's move on. Let's move on. I'm going to request.
I came here only to speak on the points which are non-political and which are valid for this state.
Let's try and look at those.
With this person who doesn't know how to talk.
May I request Mr. Pathak and Mr. Chaturvedi? Please let's not personalize it. Please let's not personalize it.
He has got no business to say so. What he does.
Okay, can I request both of you, can we listen to the experts and we'll come back? Let's try and move beyond the politics. That is my earnest request to both of you for the sake of the people of this country. Please let us try and move beyond the politics. Now, here is the situation to the two doctors. From being the world's largest vaccine manufacturers, India produces 60% of the world's vaccines. We are in a position where the Serum Institute, which manufactures Covishield, is saying that at current capacity, we cannot go beyond 3 million vaccine doses a day. Yes, we've had spikes of 4.3 million and we're down below 3 million doses in the last 24 hours. I'm going to take a brief moment to play out for you what Adar Poonawala of the Serum Institute is saying, and then I'd like both the doctors to respond to it and get Sucheta in. Can we please play that bite? Let's talk a little bit about how we're doing on the rollout. Now, some things actually don't make sense to me, and maybe you can help me with this. One, we want to understand where do we stand on production. We're still vaccinating below our production capacity. 4.3 million, the number we hit in the last 24 hours, is still below the 5 million that is available to us as a nation. But if we need to get to that 8 million to 10 million doses a day, do we have the production capacity between the Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech, or we do not?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I think vaccinating 2 to 3 million a day would be the maximum limit given the capacities, right? If you look at today, we're giving 60 million a month, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that can go to 70 million a month next month. The ramp up will come in June, July, as I mentioned, probably end of June, early July, where we can make 100 million a month. The point is, you add that to Bharat's capacities and other vaccine producers coming about. I don't think we can cross more than 3 million a month per day based on the capacities that we have today. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think that that is a good level to be at, and no country is exceeding that on a daily basis. If you look at what's happening, I mean, are there countries with more than 3 million vaccines a day?
So that's a very clear statement from Mr. Poonawala. We cannot, in his estimation, go beyond 3 million doses a day. That is not enough at this moment to take us out of this pandemic unless we use the stockpile. Remember, Serum Institute had given a stockpile of 100 million doses in January to the government, and we make arrangements for other vaccines to come in. Now, I want to get a non-political perspective from the doctors, what's actually going on in terms of vaccine shortages, remdesivir shortages, oxygen shortages. Those are the reports coming in from different parts of the country. Muffi Lakdawala, I'll start with you first and then to Dr. Mithal. Go ahead.
So, Barkha, let's get some facts clear, all right? Maharashtra, probably with Serum Institute being there, produces the largest vaccine production probably in the world. Maharashtra also has probably the largest number of COVID positive cases right from the beginning of this pandemic, probably the maximum number of deaths. Maharashtra also vaccinates the largest number of people. 60% of the total vaccinations are coming out of Maharashtra. Having said that, what I need to say is that I completely stand by what you say is all of us are against lockdown. It has its economic side effects and various other things. But one thing we need to remember is that vaccination is not the way out of this pandemic. It's the only way to blunt the knife edge of this pandemic. It's the only way to salvage and save more lives. Whatever vaccine you take, I'm not saying whether you take Covishield, Covaxin, whatever there is, it's time to ramp up vaccinations. That's one Indian, one scientific Indian, one doctor as an Indian who saved so many lives in this pandemic who's saying, please go out and vaccinate as many people as that. Forget the politics around it. Forget the need. Yes, we need to ramp up. I am completely even with Mr. Modi when he's done vaccine Maitri, because I believe that unless all of us are safe, none of us is safe. And therefore, we should believe that PEPFAR and COVAX, the program to give out vaccines to the poorer nations, yes, please do all that. But also remember, the charity begins at home. We need to vaccinate our own people as well. So please do not, if Maharashtra is asking for vaccines, and I don't know the logical truth behind it, or what the health minister said versus the state health minister versus the government, the central government health minister. All I do know is that if you've got the largest number of COVID positive patients, please give us more doses, because that's the only way. As a doctor, I can tell you, I'll be able to save more lives.
Dr. Lakdawala, there might be an argument that why should one state get preferential treatment over the other? Your answer to that would be what? That you have the most cases is one answer, obviously, and the commonsensical one. But it would still leave a central government having to answer to other states who may see a sudden spike. So what should be the basis for the vaccine rollout? Should it be per cases? Should it be per caseload? Should it be per population? Should it be, how should a vaccine rollout be structured?
I have always believed that you give benefit to people who are working hard, right? Maharashtra vaccinates the maximum. So they are doing well on the vaccination front. So give them the vaccines. But penalize the states that are not vaccinating as much, wasting a lot. Penalize those people and probably give them back when they actually asking for the vaccines. But right now, if it's like a child, if a child is asking for something, give it to the child as long as he's going to use it, rather than giving it to someone who has no use for it. So I don't know the exact numbers of how much wastage there is per state or how much vaccine has not been used per state, but any that is linked to its consumption, please give them vaccine, is all I'm saying as a doctor.
Okay, Dr. Mithal, how are we doing in Delhi? And like I said, for me, this is not a story about Maharashtra, it's a story about India. When one state pulls down the numbers of, by the way, the entire country, and I wish we would start thinking of it like that, because it's really not about, for Indians, about BJP versus Sena, it's just about where India is, how soon we can reclaim our normalcy and so on. What are you seeing on the ground?
So I think, firstly, we see this second wave hitting Delhi pretty hard, and we followed Maharashtra last time, and I think we're going the same way again. So the numbers are really increasing, and although it seems that the proportion of very serious cases is less this time, the sheer numbers might make up for it. So I won't be surprised. In major private hospitals, already there are issues about beds and ICUs, so there's a big problem on our hands. That's number one. Number two, as far as vaccination goes, I was surprised by the extent of vaccine hesitation, not so much shortage. To be very honest, we have not faced a shortage so far. In fact, so many slots are going empty. People don't turn up. I'm convincing my patients every single day. Right now, you could walk into any center in Delhi and get your shot. So I don't think that Delhi is facing that problem yet. Having said that, my take on this is that perhaps the calculation of vaccine numbers was based on those above 60 and above 45 with comorbidities. And now that they've opened it up and spread it across the country, regardless of the number of cases and severity of spread, I think that's where the challenge is coming. That's my guess. The calculations till July were based, and that is why above 60 and 45 with comorbidities, which is not a bad thing. But I then said that comorbidities is being misused and nothing. And, a lot of people said that 45, and then I think it was a good decision to bring it down to 45. However, seeing the dynamics of the situation, I do feel that hotspots should get some priority at the moment. Hotspots should get some priority, and because it's very easy to say Maharashtra. If it's Maharashtra today, it'll be Delhi tomorrow. It'll be MP the day after. It's not that you're going to get spread. It's same. We are all the same virus. It's not that. So we're all the same people. So it's going to spread. So I think if we can sort of attack the hotspots right now and do as much as possible. Now, I don't know the logistics in terms of the numbers available, but we should focus on the hotspots and maybe remove even the 45 bar there, not to do anything with which state or which party or which, I don't care about that. But basically, the fact is that we need to address the hotspots faster. And every day is important. Every day is important. Even in January, every day, healthcare workers, every day, because the way it's spreading, each day makes a difference. So at the moment, again, to conclude, in Delhi, we are not seeing a shortage. You can walk in and get your vaccine at any center.
Okay, but I think you make the important point, and I remember this curve from 2020. We did follow Maharashtra. That's exactly how it happened. We went through a lean period, and then we saw the surge. And I think you're quite correct to say that Maharashtra is the hot spot today. It could be some other state tomorrow. In fact, Madhya Pradesh, a BJP state, has complained about shortages of the remdesivir injection, of oxygen. Vishwas Pathak ji, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is on record saying that Kalko they could be complaining about vaccine shortages as well. So this should not become an opposition versus BJP battle. Sucheta, what's happening? What are you seeing in Mumbai?
So two things. One is that, as the previous speaker said, it is a hotspot in Bombay. I think until 6 weeks ago, everybody was sort of complacent that we had beaten COVID because our numbers had fallen phenomenally. And today there are new strains of COVID. I'm sure Dr. Lakdawala will bear me out. So the question is that we are facing severe shortages. This morning, we're looking for a bed for a doctor who's been in the, leading this whole COVID effort. So I think hotspots, it's not just hotspots in terms of numbers. Why is Mumbai a hotspot? Precisely because it's a commercial capital and business is booming. It is not about restaurants and, bars. In fact, people like the steel industry has a huge market exporting. The steel industry it's stunned that they are, under lockdown again. We've had 1 year of no business, and this is the commercial capital. You need to export. You need people coming to work. You still do not have trains for everybody. If anybody looks at buses, they're chock-a-block. People are had just begun to start their lives, and they're traveling because they come from the suburbs. The BJP spokesperson is from Maharashtra. He knows how far people are traveling. So if Delhi is here saying that we don't have a shortage, and Maharashtra and Bombay is saying there is an acute shortage, which there is, why would we not get more vaccines? In fact, we need to go beyond this unseemly political battle, because actually as a citizen, I feel very angry that the discussion is, are you lying or are you not lying? We are here in Mumbai. We can see the extent of the pandemic. We can see around us. In my building, there was absolutely nothing for 1 year. We have about 8 or 9 cases today. So we can see it, and to say, oh, you don't have a problem, you don't need vaccines, is ridiculous. We don't want to hear it. It is centralized. So it's not a question of BJP versus the state government. The BJP controls it. The vaccine certificate has the Prime Minister's picture. The price is decided. We know that the Serum Institute is asking for 3,000 crores more to ramp up production. Let's hear answers about that with the country in mind. Because if we have to recover economically, we can see the US doing it. What are we doing? This is the commercial capital. You pump in the damn money. Don't you want the economy growing again? And are we talking about, do you need vaccines? I find it ridiculous.
Yeah. I have to say, I agree that I cannot believe we're having a parochial debate at this point, Vishwas Pathak. But even if you were to be parochial, you speak just for your state, right? So speak for your state. Do you not want your state? When the lockdown restrictions were initially announced, Devendra Fadnavis supported them. He said, we will cooperate with the BJP, I beg your pardon, with the Sena on this. It's a simple math, and I'm really requesting this conversation to go beyond politics. I usually sort of have avoided this being a political conversation. Unfortunately, today I can't, because the fight has become political, so I have to reflect that. But I ask you, Vishwas ji, Do you not want more vaccines? Do you not want more people to be vaccinated? बहुत सिंपल सा सवाल है. ये शिवसेना को भूल जाइए 2 मिनट. आप ये नहीं चाहते कि मुंबई के लोग, महाराष्ट्र के लोगों जो वैक्सीन जिनको जरूरत है उनको मिल पाए?
Certainly, as a Maharashtrian, as a Mumbai person, I would always want maximum number of vaccines to be supplied to Maharashtra and Mumbai. That's not the issue. All I'm trying to say, vaccine is of course very one major solution. However, that is not the only solution. Today,
there's no other solution, sir. With respect, there is no other solution because there's no treatment for this virus. Doctors will tell you कि वो experimental treatment, remdesivir, dolo, paracetamol, steroids, high flow oxygen, ये तो मैं भी सीख गई हूँ. But there is no treatment. There is no treatment yet, sir, except the vaccine. Sorry, I think Sucheta's wanting to say something. Can we bring Sucheta in just for a second? Just for a second, and then I'll come to you.
Just one sentence. Lockdown is not a solution. It's going to kill the economy and it's going to kill livelihoods. So lockdown is also not a solution.
Yes.
Exactly. See, yes, exactly. All I'm trying to say, vaccination, we were waiting very eagerly for vaccination. Vaccine has come now, and we are going under vaccination program in big way. However, till the time 100% vaccination is done, there are certain things to be done at our level also. There has to be proper see, like you know, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, CM, he made appeal to our leader of opposition, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, or Mr. Raj Thackeray, and everybody has supported him 100%. However, when that lockdown circular came, it was altogether different. Saturday, Sunday, full lockdown, and Monday to Friday, under the name of some restrictions, it is also like lockdown only. So people got agitated. So whatever was committed, it was not brought through the paper. Therefore, there was agitation. Now people are on the roads. They don't know how to manage their subsistence. They are finding it very difficult things. And government is also now slowly releasing all those things. So there has to be a consistent approach by this government, state government, rather than having an infighting and trying to save the scheme.
Let me put that to Priyanka Chaturvedi. The question is this, that the weekend lockdown idea does seem tokenistic. I think there's a reasonable question there. What, or the night curfew, and you're not the only state to do it. My city of Delhi has done it. Madhya Pradesh has announced restrictions today. There are many states, because basically I think that this tinkering is reflecting a helplessness in politicians and a kind of panic and a lack of clear thinking, which is why I keep saying return the conversation to vaccines, because everything else is actually a meaningless conversation. We can't go the route of the lockdown again. I think this country cannot take lockdowns again. So, on this weekend lockdown and the tinkering, Priyanka, just unmute yourself and go ahead and respond. Yeah.
So, there's just one thing I'd like to say. Even the Chief Minister of Maharashtra hasn't taken this decision on his own or voluntarily. It has been forced upon him because we are seeing there's absolutely no break in the entire chain that we were looking at and hoping, and we were conversing to people talking about a second wave, which was almost nearing. I think our chief minister was the only chief minister who was talking about a second wave. The health ministry, the union health ministry, still does not have any such notice coming forward to any states or warning any state that there could be a second wave coming. This is the health ministry which spoke about COVID not impacting the nation in the first round itself. We've had a massive economic impact. We know lockdown is not the answer. The answer right now is extensive vaccination, ramping up vaccination, covering as much of our population as we can. America is doing it, UK is doing it, European nations are doing it. But somehow when I talk about absolute numbers, we sound great that we are crossing absolute numbers as compared to other countries. But when we look at the percentage of coverage of our population, it's barely 6% or maybe 7%. And I'll start getting arguments about 9%, 10%, let's say 10%. That's hardly any coverage that we're looking at if you have to build herd immunity. And that is my answer, that you have to support the government. The union government has to go beyond this feeling of, we are in control, we will decide what Maharashtra needs, and we will criticize it when we want, we will play politics when we feel like, we will run to the Raj Bhavan when we want, when we will run on the streets when we want, we'll start agitating with people when we want, because it suits their politics. That is my only point of view. I speak as a mother also, whose son at 17 years of age has tested COVID positive. You know about it, Barkha, Dr. Lakdawala knows about this. So this is where we stand, and I was speaking as an Indian citizen, as a resident of Maharashtra, and as someone who is seeing dynamic changes in the second wave, where the young are getting more infected than the ones who are above 45 years of age. That was my only concern when I wrote that letter. For it to become a political point of view for the health minister is extremely unfortunate, depressing, and disgusting.
Well, I hope your son is doing better, and I hope he gets better soon. But I think you make an important anecdotal point that younger people are indeed sort of getting this virus in bigger numbers. Even I'm anecdotally seeing that on the ground. The other thing we saw even in 2020 is that even the fatalities that India was experiencing were actually late 40s, 50s, even early 60s, kind of defying what was happening globally. Now, before I come to the doctors on whether we need to, take a look at getting more vaccines in, Sucheta, I just want to sense from you on what is the most pressing need. I know you've spoken about your building, but you're on the ground in Mumbai, a non-political citizen's perspective. What does Maharashtra need more than anything else?
I think there's a need for more awareness. There's a need for politicians to stop sending contrary signals. I think there's a need for more vaccines, but at the same time, I say there's a need for more education also, because a lot of people think that the vaccine is a cure-all. It's not. There's to be a lot of research. There are different strains of the virus, and instead of fighting, we need studies. So there are people who think I've got my first dose, so I'm 50% safe, and when I get my second dose, I'm 100% safe. We all know that's not true. I think there has to be a national campaign to tell people it doesn't matter whether you have the vaccine is good, it's protective, but it is not the answer. You will have to have certain restrictions, you will have to be careful.
Yeah. Dr. Mithal, if I can bring you in, and then Dr. Lakdawala, is it time to get in the other vaccines, right? Sputnik, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, whatever. I know that the regulator has been asking for bridging trials, but there is such a thing as emergency authorization use, even if it takes another 2 to 3 months. What that enables is you can then dip into your stockpile of reserves. You can open up the vaccine program. You can use more than 4 million or 3 million a day. By the way, I just have to remind everybody, we went below that 3 million in the last 24 hours. So we're not even sticking at that 3 million target. Is it time to do that? Can we manage this without? And what's happening is that because there was vaccine Maitri, is there a kind of vaccine nationalism that has got jodoed with this, where we don't want to take in foreign vaccines because it'll make India look less than? I'm just wondering if politics is playing a part even there.
Well, Barkha, I don't know about the politics, but yes, I do think that there are other vaccines also which are manufactured in India, not developed in India, but manufactured in India. We should push Bharat Biotech because the bulk of the supplies have been so far by Serum Institute. We should push the Covaxin thing in a bigger way. I mean, I have nothing against allowing Pfizer and Moderna. As a doctor, I think it's fine. It's the better, more choice. But if you ask me honestly, in terms of sheer numbers, I doubt if they'll make a huge impact. That's my feeling. I think you need the kind of numbers you need right now will not be supplied by Pfizer and Moderna at the price that you'd like and whatever. And if people want to buy, and then, I think at least we could do this with Sputnik and maybe the others too. Purely as a doctor, I would say get everyone in. Why not? But looking at the larger picture, I doubt it if these will. One little point I'll make here that actually, we haven't done that badly in vaccination. Number one, India was one of the poorer countries, if I can use that word, which had plenty of vaccine, relatively as compared to other countries of its size, of its economic sector.
Plenty if we didn't assume that there would be a second surge. There would have been plenty.
Exactly, but I think the
no longer plenty.
Second surge, exactly. So the calculations is exactly what I'm saying. Didn't take into account the second surge and looked at 45 plus with morbidities and 60 plus overall. So anyway, so that is one thing. Other thing is that we are consistently doing. You heard Adar Poonawala say that if no one is vaccinating more than 3 million a day worldwide. So I agree, for our population that small. I think the second surge has probably thrown the vaccination metrics out of gear, but we need to evolve quickly and change. And I definitely think more vaccines are needed. And for a start, the low-hanging fruit is go for the Sputnik anyway.
Yeah. Dr. Lakdawala, I'll give you the last word. We have to close. We've, and I know all of you have to get back to work as well. if we were to free up our vaccine program, and I always say, instead of saying lockdown India, we need to be saying unlock vaccines. What all do we need to do, and what could that do to, let's say, our lives? We also have to give people hope. I think one of the other things that's happening is that every day when we tabulate the single highest spike, we breached 1 lakh. It's also important to remind people that 93% is our recovery rate. Most people do get better. People shouldn't feel hopeless, and they need to understand that taking vaccines can really change their lives or give them their old lives back, maybe with masking as a precaution. So if you just want to leave us a little bit with a note of hope there.
Barkha, being the Prime Minister of one of the largest and most populous countries in the world, the Prime Minister set an example by taking the Covaxin even before phase 3 trials came in. Our Chief Minister of Maharashtra followed suit and took the vaccine. Both of them have taken the second dose today. I believe they've led the way. They believe vaccine is the way out of this entire pandemic. And trust me, as a doctor, I'm telling you that if we vaccinate around 60% of our population, trust me, in 6 to 8 months from now, we'll all live without fear. We'll all be able to live a free life. Our kids will be able to go back to school, and Corona will be something we'll get used to living with without fear. So I think let's follow the two people, at least in Maharashtra. Let's follow the CM. For the country, let's follow the PM. Let's believe in vaccination. Let's go out and vaccinate. Give it to who wants. We do know that there is a younger population which is traveling and getting infected, and in turn infecting the older people who are dying. So let's infect as many people as we can. I've always believed this. To open up the country.
To open up the country, you have to open up the vaccination program.
Yes.
And we need more vaccines. I think both the doctors agree with that. We need more vaccine options till production is ramped up.
Get in as many as we can. Just open it up. If we can produce our own, let's use them. If we can't produce our own, let's take in more from outside. But just let's open it up.
Yeah, let's end on that note of consensus that I think that we can all agree that there needs to be a different approach to vaccination, one not seen through the filter of either parochialism or politics, but seen through completely science. Science is politics agnostic. You need to look at the caseload. You need to see which states have a higher caseload, and you need to give those states more vaccine. Because remember, whether or not you like one government in one state or the other, if one state erupts, it's only a matter of time before the rest of the country erupts. And if we started thinking that this is about us all and not about us versus them, perhaps, as Dr. Lakdawala and Dr. Mithal have offered us a glimpse of hope, vaccinate and reclaim your old lives. Otherwise, you will push politicians into panicky lockdowns, and none of us want that. This country cannot afford it. Thanking Vishwas Pathak, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Sucheta, Muffi, and Ambarish. Thank you so much, and thank you to our audience. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.